Hello everybody, I'm Martin. Welcome to another episode of Glacial Awakening. Now that we have successfully made it into the Iron Age, it's time to go back to the magic side of the fence. But first, now that I have iron tools, I discovered something. I can make amethyst equipment, and it's every bit as good as the iron stuff. Now, this doesn't work with Tetra at all, so it's not helping me level up my equipment at all. But my iron pick, which is just getting beaten up and has very little durability, versus my amethyst pick, which has 1500 durability. I know which one I prefer. The one that I don't have to repair constantly and can easily replace. Because while amethyst isn't incredibly common, I don't need very much of it to make these. So this is what I'm going to be using for the time being. Anyhow, looking back in chapter 2, we can see that we completed up through here making redstone and gold ore. We'll get to this in a little bit, but instead we're going to swing back this way and move back into the beginning parts of roots again, starting with needing to get terra moss and some wild root. And it tells us exactly what we need to do here. We need grass, which we can make with bone meal pretty easily. And of course this means coming inside and getting my handy dandy knife. And going out to the cluster of mossstone that's right outside and snip, 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 snip. Now we're done with that part. Mowing grass all day long. Gotta wait for the rare spawn and do this 15 billion times. Well, that was unpleasantly grindy. I've got it now, but it took 24 of those plant matter balls to do it, and replacing a lot of the snow here with grass. So that definitely erred on the side of tedium, guys, considering it's extremely low chance compared to the rest of the seeds, which I got all of many times over. So I've got almost all the seeds now, including the weird ones like an aubergine, and some terror spores, which I didn't know you could get, but we also got the industrial hemp seeds at some point, so all of this will be useful later. But now, we need to go plant this and get the rest of them that we need. The good news is if I just use the plant matter balls on it, it just kicks them out, so I just need to get some more leaves out of my bonsais. Alright, so I just planted one of everything that I got right here, because why not? I found a worm, dropped down two, because I don't know if they actually disappear in this version or not. I might be able to remove the water if not, though. But anyhow, we have now completed this step, which gets me some cooked seeds that look like they're broken, so that's great. But the next thing we need to do is make the Fey Crafter, which apparently gives us more terra spores, and wants us to actually read the book. But the Fey Crafter is a bunch of saplings, terra moss, and a wild root, which we've got, and the grove stones are cobblestone, roots, and more moss. But I probably should go read the book to figure out what they're making me do here. Alright, so I've got them made. That part was not the easy part. It looks like to use it, you actually have to use a spell of supplication on the grove stone to power it up. And that is what's used to power the crafter. Now that said, the crafter appears to mostly be used to make equipment, which we don't have the means to do yet. We're missing some of the pieces we need to be able to make the starting stuff here. So until I need to do it or I'm poked by the quest book to progress using it, I'm just going to put these down for now and not powered up because I'm starting to dramatically run out of space. I really need to build a real base, and we're probably going to do that soon. But for now, let's put them down right here and go get our quest reward, which is more terror spores. Next, it wants us to create some lapis using a rock core. And let me tell you, making lapis is a gigantic rabbit hole, because the coring recipe requires a whole bunch of stuff we don't already have. We have the shard of the root of life, I'm pretty sure. If not, I can make more easily. We need a verdant core, which requires turf blocks, which are just shards that pure giver around dirt, so that part's easy. But we also need imprisoned light, which drops from shard light collectors. So we're gonna have to set those up, although I think the quest gave it to us, but we'll go take a look in our inventory in a little bit. And then once we have those, we need prismarine, because we can't use lapis because we don't have it, and thankfully this also has a coring recipe, but in this case we can use ice. So all in all, kind of a giant pain. But let me go see if I have the pieces I need to even get started on this. Okay, I'm an idiot. It's easier than I thought. Because for some reason I didn't realize you could just make lapis ore. I was trying to make the lapis directly, which means you can just use a normal rock core. So, no rabbit hole. Try not to fall in the trap that I did, because that rabbit hole goes deeper than I thought. To do it the way I thought you did, you also have to be able to set up a nether portal, and that's outside our means right now. Well, the portal itself isn't, but the steps relating to it after that are. So yeah. Alright, so now that that basic step is done, right here, right there, just had to make some more and break it. Wasn't hard at all. We can come in here, take some more amplifying tubes, which we will almost certainly need at some point, I still don't have set up, and move on to making a furnace, which is its own special rabbit hole because it requires runestones from roots, which now requires using the Fey Crafting table, which is 4 stone, and a lapis to create 8. I'm pretty sure I have to go do the ritual supplication to power this up, but let's go grab the pieces first and double check. Oh yeah, just looking inside the Fey Crafter, it's not attached to a stone right now at all, so we do need to power it up. And that's done by using creating this spell powder up here, which is petals, wild root, a sapling, a moss stone, and a door to create the Grove Supplication spell, which we can then use on the Grove Stone. And the petals, we can just grind up any flower into them, and we got a bunch of flowers when we were doing the bone mealing, so that part's easy. I have no idea how I shoved a door in this tiny little mortar, but I don't make the rules, but now we have the spell dust. Totally didn't get paralyzed and have to reread the roots book to remember how to imbue the spell into the staff. And now having wild roots and terra moss in our inventory, we should be able to come up to the Grove Stone. We don't have enough wild roots. Oh, because they're not in my pouch. Now that they're in my pouch, right click it, and now it's powered up. And now if we come into the Fey Crafter, it is now lit up properly. Now we can toss our 4 stones in here, as well as our lapis. So I totally didn't have to run back into the house because I forgot a stone knife to actually activate the Fey Crafter. Right click it like that to get my rune stones. And now we can just come to the crafting station and make a furnace as normal. Now that said, this can't actually be used to smelt the things we want to use it to smelt. It can't do ores in this one, unfortunately, but it is useful for doing everything else. Well, when I say ores, I very specifically mean like iron ore, the ones that we'd use the furnace for. So that part's unfortunate, but it is a bit less tedious than using this stone kiln for everything. Anyways, now we can get a second furnace because that's what I need right now. Now we need to make melons, which thankfully we have pumpkins, and we can turn it into a melon using the ritual of transmutation. The instructions are here as listed, and then we just need to go look up the ritual. So if we look in the roots manual, this is a pyre ritual, which we've done before, but it involves a bunch of stuff we haven't previously done. The first thing is it requires standing stones, which are 2 rune stones with a chiseled rune stone on top. We also need a chiseled runestone as part of this recipe, which is just 4 runestone together. It's the same sort of pattern that progresses through stone. Or we can just directly chisel it into it, which is what I might do because I wanted to make a chisel anyways. We also need some bark, which looking in the manual is just breaking a log with a knife, which we can do that pretty easily. And then the scary one, the cloudberry, which you can make from grass, leaves, wool, and terra moss, which we have. Or per the quest block, you can try using elemental soil on the ground at around Y100. And if we look at elemental soil, this is also pretty easy to make. But once we have the first cloudberry, we can then just grow them on this soil. So while I was out looking for some more terra moss outside near my base, because I can't actually make it easily yet, I found these little guys, and if memory serves, these guys drop seeds. Possibly some I don't have yet. So of course we're going to do the humane thing and kill them. No, beetroot, aubergine, cater, and watermelon, so we can actually do that the easy way. To be clear, we are going to do them, just not right now. Also, the grovestone apparently grows plants all around it the whole time it's active, so that's actually pretty nice. Anyhow, now that we very quickly cheated our way through this step, it gives us a block of melon charcoal. Well, you can apparently burn melons into charcoal in this one. That's interesting. You can burn a whole bunch of things into charcoal, apparently. Huh, that actually seems really useful. Anyways, moving on to the next step, the Pereskia, which is another pyre recipe, but this one is relatively easy to do by comparison, though I don't think I have sugarcane yet. But we mostly just need to make a glistening melon, which we can do because we got gold last time. But it looks like the main way to get sugarcane is using mutation paste that we used way back in an earlier episode with pretty much any other plant to get sugarcane. So that should be easy enough. Alright, so I made some sugarcane. It's growing in the bonsai very, very slowly. But you can see that it's outputting right here. And I've got all the materials for the ritual, so I'm going to put them on the fire and light it up. And now we've got some magic flowers. But more importantly, that next step of the quest done. Which gets us a heavy core stabilizer, which that's actually pretty nice. I can go replace the light one, because this is something I couldn't make previously. Because this requires imprisoned light, which as we discovered I can't get. As well as soul steel ingots and azul ingots, which I can't make yet. So I'm going to call that a pretty big win. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go dip back over here and we're going to construct the Shabby Tavern, which is basically a form of teleportation. And I'm hopefully going to use this to go back and forth between my new base when I make it and this one to get clear stuff out. But we'll see how cost prohibitive it ends up being. But making it requires an aquamarine, which I'm pretty sure I've had. If not, I can go find one of them pretty easily. And a bunch of Tavern cloth patches, which is just a bunch of bone meal, leather, and water, which we can do, or grass and water. We'll go figure it out. I may or may not go murder some deer. I'm definitely not going to murder a penguin, though. I learned my lesson, folks. I really did. All right, and now I've got the Shabby Tavern. I'm going to go stick it in a fireplace because why not? And now we shift right click it. We can give it a name. Not my real home. And we can close that out. We open up the quest book. This gives us a hearthing plank as a reward, which is this teleport to the home tavern. We forgot to click this icon to set it as my home one. And now when we bring up the plank, it shows us where this is. I believe if I wander off a little bit and use this, yep, it will hearth us back to that. And now we're back out here again. Which actually, now that I think about it, is actually going to be a problem going back and forth between the bases because I can't go back and forth. I can only come back to this one. But that's still a useful tool. And it didn't use up the Hearthstone as I was afraid it was going to. I was afraid I was going to have to use up a whole bunch of the aquamarines I have in storage, which it turns out I've got like 30 of them. So, which isn't a problem, but would have been a pain. But there are other taverns in here. So there's this type, which I think is almost identical to this one, but this one only works with the plank that we just made. So this one should work with the actual Hearthstone. And the Hearthstone requires deep blue and some stone or andesite, which I think we have. And the deep blue is lapis dust, diamond dust, oh, yeah, that's a problem, and aquamarine dust, which we get from using their mortar. So if I can find some diamonds, I can actually make a Hearthstone and go between them pretty easily. So that might be a thing I do. It's not gonna help me going back and forth between them though, but we might get there. Anyhow, we made some fairly good progress on roots today. We've got some more basic materials made as well as some furnaces, and we now have the means to teleport back to at least this base. I think the next time we're actually gonna start building at least a very rudimentary starter base to move into because I'm very, very cramped in here and I need more space. But for now, I think we're gonna call it a night. If you found this episode interesting and entertaining, please consider leaving a like or subscribing if you're new. As always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.